So apparently, there is a spiritual awakening that is happening to God's chosen people. How did I find this? How did I find this out? I found this out through this sister called Shavi Zain because she shares a spiritual observation, claiming that many people walking on earth are not humans. Instead, they are mankind beings who are empty vessels. And these empty vessels, we know that they lack a soul. Now, there is something that Shavi Zain says that really makes sense. And all of this entire message is really deep than I thought. Because majority of the time, and there was a time I had this scenario where people are saying that we are not having humans against us. Some people that are walking on earth, some people that we're seeing are soulless. They are not humans. But there's something interesting that she talks about the death of the beast of the Babylon. It is because the chosen people have already knew, and the chosen people are withdrawing their energy. The chosen people are walking away from all these things. And if you try to connect the dots, you know what it means. The chosen people are walking away from all this. And this means that when the chosen people walk away, it means that they're not giving the beast the energy. So when they're not giving the beast this energy, it means that the power of the beast is going down. The all spiritual scenario that she shares when she goes on a grocery store really makes sense. And I think she is that person who has high vibration. And this is what happens with the chosen people. They have high vibration and they will notice things. They will notice important things that other group of people usually tend not to look into. Brothers and sisters, I want us to watch this video because it is really important that you see this, especially black folks, especially my audience who watches my videos. This is really important. The lady is called Shavi Zain. Please go check her out. Go check the full video out and go check the spiritual nourishment that she shares with people. So brothers and sisters, let's switch the video. I'll be back.
What's going on, Chosen? I have to come on and have a conversation with you all, okay? We need to talk. So I am really taking note of a lot of people. I've always been a people observer, but of course now that my spiritual eyes are open, I'm not just seeing these people through my natural eyes, and it's becoming more and more apparent that a lot of the people that's walking the face of this earth, they're not human. They're not human. Now, I know that you all have heard the term mankind, right? There's a reason why that term surfaced. Mankind is kind of like a man, but not quite, right? So today, well, this is not just today, but today is actually what caused me to create this particular message. I went to a grocery store. Now, in the area that I'm currently living in, because you all know I've been out here for a year now, okay? It's just something very different. In certain regions, you go into the store. So today I went into the grocery store and I was looking around, just to get the things that I needed. But I noticed a lot of people were staring at me, right? Some of them was blankly staring. Others were just like, almost as if I did not belong there. Now, mind you, in this particular area, at that particular grocery store, okay, you don't see a lot of people that look like me as a melanated woman. But then on top of that, yes, I do know that I adorn myself in a particular way that makes me stand out. So I'm not surprised at that. But it's a different type of feel is what I'm picking up when it comes to the looks. It's almost like, why are you amongst us? But they're not. First of all, y'all know I worked in healthcare for a significant period of time. And I did do a lot of psych. When I worked as a registered nurse, I also did psych nursing. And I noticed that there were certain traits that, some of the patients would carry. One thing that I did notice is that if a person does not swing their arms when they walk, something wrong. Okay? I'm going to just put y'all on. If a person does not swing their arms when they walk, something is wrong. Now, I'm noticing just the posture of a lot of these people in this grocery store. Their mannerisms. And at one particular point, I was just kind of going through my items in my cart as I waited in line. And you know, you can feel somebody looking at you. So I happened to look up, and there was this man, European man. He had his overalls on, right? And he was just, and so when I looked up, he quickly looked away. The weirdest thing, right? And he was also amongst the rest, where I'm just looking like, what am I surrounded by? Even the people that work, not all the people that work there, okay? I did meet one nice lady that actually, oh gosh, listen y'all, many of the people that work there, something is off. And I'm gonna tell y'all what I am speculating here, right? This is what my spiritual team has told me. I would love to hear your feedback out there, and if you are noticing the same thing. So as we all know, the current system, the current structure is dying. The beast of Babylon is dying, okay? Why? Because many of the chosen seed, we've withdrawn our energy, okay? I told you all a long time ago, I was given a visual of a beast and a whole bunch of cords. And those cords were spiritual cords attached to a lot of people who have souls, right? The chosen seed. And that cord was actually like an umbilical cord to this beast that was feeding the beast. Like it was siphoning the energy. It was siphoning our energy. Especially as long as we stayed in low vibrational energy, that cord would remain. But the moment that we woke up and made a conscious decision to release a lot of unhealthy patterns, unhealthy relationships, unhealthy thoughts and traumas and things of that nature, that cord breaks, especially when you're doing generational curse breaking. That cord can no longer remain. And so the very source that the beast of Babylon fed on is practically non-existent, because many of the chosen have awakened and see the importance of cutting these cords to the beast of Babylon, right? So with that being said, a lot of the energy that beast was siphoning, I hope that I wasn't covering the mic, y'all. A lot of the energy that beast was siphoning was being distributed to the NPCs, the zombies, the ones that will be considered mankind, right? Whatever these beings are, a lot of that divine energy that would make you human was actually being siphoned and redistributed to the beings that are not human. So imagine now that beast is no longer feeding on the majority of the chosen, because there's still some chosen seed that's wiping the crust out of their eyes, okay? There's still some chosen seed that's very much so resistant to the truths that's being revealed to them, right? Because there's a fear of being judged. There's a fear of having to take the narrow pathway. There's a lot of sacrifice that comes with taking a narrow pathway. And many people just ain't ready for it. But there are a whole lot of chosen seed, enough chosen seed that have withdrawn from the beast of Babylon to the point where it is dying. That spark, that soul, that divine energy, that generating energy that we have because of our connection to the Most High Mother and Father is no longer being fed to the beast. So when it was siphoning our energy, when it had access in surplus, not only did it take what it wanted to get fully fed and full, it was then that energy was also being distributed to the beings that are not human. Now, I don't know what you want to call them. I don't know what you want to call these things, but something, it's like the more that I awaken, the more that my spiritual eyes open, the more that it's obvious, right? Now, back in the day, when I was still asleep and didn't understand things from the spiritual perspective, I might have said, okay, mentally something might be off with that person. Or, you know, something just ain't right. But you don't, you know, when you're asleep, you just say, okay, well, they're just different. Oh, hell no. Now that I am awakened, oh no, this thing is spiritual. These are beings that do not have a soul. You can tell by the mannerisms, by the posture, the body posture, by, I'm even seeing a far more common theme of people that look completely lifeless, like no life in them. It's almost like a dried grape. You see what I'm saying? 'Cause you all know that raisins are grapes, right? At least that's what I was told. Raisins are dried up grapes. It's like in comparison to a grape that is plump, is full of life, it's vibrant, to this dried up, it's just, you can look at them and tell that there is not a soul present. Okay? And so if you find that when you go out to particular regions or certain, you're going to find them everywhere that you go, but there's certain areas where they tend to congregate, right? And that particular grocery store is where I see them often. Okay? That particular grocery store. And I've heard a lot of people say things like it was a conversation that was circulating in regards to the Walmarts. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, okay, who are these beings that's walking around in the Walmarts? That's how I feel about this particular grocery store. Something is not right. And what was interesting is that I actually, as I was shopping, out of nowhere, a lady was like, she just walked up to me fast. She works there. She's like, excuse me. She complimented me, on my appearance, but she was like, it's just something about your energy. I can tell that you are very spiritual. I can tell, and some things are just kind of a dead giveaway, right? I got my Ankh earrings on. You see what I'm saying? I got my third eye piece here, crystals. You know what I'm saying? It's some things are obvious, but she also mentioned that she just doesn't see people who have a particular aura very often, right? Which I'm not surprised, especially in that particular grocery store. Something ain't right. Something is not right. And I feel like now that the beast of Babylon no longer has your energy to distribute to the masses, especially, it's almost like it was a cloak. You see what I'm saying? It was easier to hide these beings when they were still feeding off of our energy in our asleep state. It was easier to hide them, easier to make them blend in. But now, they can't blend in. It's too obvious. They cannot blend in. Okay? And I feel like it's a whole lot more of them than what we actually realize, y'all. I'm really starting to feel like what I'm really starting to feel like is that there's actually more of them than there are humans. There's more mankind than there are human beings, which means that they come in every shape, size, and color, whatever that is. And it kind of makes you wonder, why so many? You see what I'm saying? What are they, space fillers? Are they distractions? Are they, again, gatekeepers, right? Because the more of them, the more easily they can be controlled, right? They can be used as pawns to do the bidding of the powers that were. I feel like they made them in droves, like large numbers of them have been created. I don't know if this is damn factory babies. I don't know what the hell you want to call them. I don't know what you want to call them. I do recall seeing a clip, and I'm going to go back and look that up. There was something concerning the Cabbage Patch dolls. Y'all remember the Cabbage Patch dolls back in the day? Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that. Okay, so yes, as I was saying, even with the Cabbage Patch dolls, it was a lot of speculations in terms of incubator babies, children that was actually being raised up, like planted as seeds and grown in fields like crops, okay, all types of things that people have speculated. But there was even a time where there was a man, from what I understand, named Martin County or something like that, who was actually had like in the middle of a, I don't know if it was a circus or more like a carnival, but people would come and watch babies that was inside of incubators, and he claimed that he was saving these premature babies, and it would be tons of them, and apparently there was no birth certificates, nothing like that, to verify who the child was, who the parent was, like where was these babies coming from. I say that to say, these beings have been mad scientists for a long time, right? Constantly trying to play the role of the Most High Mother and Father, to create these beings that are mankind but not human. Mankind but not human. Okay? And I'm strongly sensing that many of the beings that we encounter today are the children, the grandchildren of these beings. Okay? And it's more evident today because they don't have that light source energy coming from the chosen seed. Now, as I said, these beings can come in many different shades, but I'm picking up because when I look at particular people, I'm going to tell you what I perceive. Let me know if you all perceive the same thing, because it's going to be different for everybody's spiritual perception. But from my spiritual perception, when I see, let's just say, like a melanated person that seems very off, like something just ain't right. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to be caught outside in the dark next to that person. Typically, I feel more of a possessed energy, like something has taken over that person's being. Whereas there's a different energy that I pick up when I see, like, let's just say maybe a European who seems off. I pick up from that person more of an empty energy, like it's an empty vessel type of energy. For a melanated person, I picked up a possessed energy. For a lot of the European people that I feel something is off with, because I don't feel that about all of them, just like I don't feel that way about all melanated people or Asians or whoever. But when I see that energy that's just off, that's like something ain't right, there's a discerning feeling that says possessed versus empty. Okay? It's a stark difference. I'm gonna leave it right there. But regardless of what's happening out here, y'all, once your spiritual eyes are open, it is very, very difficult to unsee, and it becomes weird. It becomes weird trying to just walk around day to day, do your everyday shopping, handle your everyday activities, and to not acknowledge that something else is amongst us. And I'm also picking up that there is a rapid deteriorating or aging process that's happening with a lot of those beings that I am seeing, right? The ones where I identify whether they're demon possessed or empty, it don't matter which side of the fence they're on, I'm picking up that there is a rapid aging, like I said earlier, like the withering away, like a raisin versus a grape. And I strongly sense, because even those who are possessed, those same low vibrational entities that is housed within them are no longer able to feed on the residual energy that the beast of Babylon was not able to take in, right? Because I feel like there's one massive energy that kept the system running. There's a spiritual reflection of that, and that's what I call the beast of Babylon. The system was massive to the point where it took over practically the entire globe. And the beast that was a direct reflection of it was also massive. And then it has all of its little minions and pawns, which some will call demons or low vibrational sources, entities. These low vibrational sources was able to feed off of the crumbs of that high vibrational energy, or that soul light source energy that the chosen seed was sleep on, right? But now they don't have that either. Even the low vibrational beings that's housing themselves in these, in others, and in those that may be human, right? They don't have that light source energy to feed on. And so even then, there's this dying that's happening, okay? Rapid deterioration that's happening here. It's kind of difficult to articulate. I'm doing the best that I can. If y'all are still here with me and you understand what I'm saying, leave a comment in the comment section below, because I really need to know how many of you out there are eyewitnessing this. Then the question becomes, what do we do with this energy? You see what I'm saying? Because, and look at that, I'm looking at a cardinal right now. That's a sign. It's like, I know that they are dying off, right? They're dying off because they don't have any of that light to feed on. Because we called our energy back, right? Many of you, when you got onto your spiritual journey, one of the first things that you learn about is calling your energy back to you, okay? So they can't take that from us anymore. So I'm just picking up that there's a dying energy, just like with that man that was looking at me very wickedly, right? They know that their time is up. They can feel themselves deteriorating. They can see it amongst the people that might be in their circle. So that's where that pushback energy is going to come in. It's already happening. Where it's like, okay, these beings are like, we're a dying breed. You see what I'm saying? They don't have anything else to feed on. They don't have anything else to be that source to keep them going. I'm strongly picking up that because of that, the population is going to drop like rapidly in terms of reproduction. Okay? I feel like that's going to drop tremendously. And over the next few years, 10, 20, 30 years, we're going to find that the numbers are far less. The body counts are far less, because you're going to have more humans. Of course, the strongest will survive, right? So the humans, we survive because we thrive on that light source energy of the Most High Mother and Father, but also nature supports our growth and our reproduction. Nature supports our growth and our reproduction, whereas for mankind, nature will not support their growth and reproduction. So there's like this extinct energy that I am picking up is going to happen rapidly. Not something that's going to happen hundreds of years from now, thousands of years from now. No, I'm talking about over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It's going to be a drop off. And that's why, that's another thing where, even though I know that a lot of the things that are being created by these mad scientists, such as the pandemics and things like that, is taking out a lot of people, I'm also picking up that whether it's planned or whether it is nature's way of natural selection, where there's certain things that's running rapid for a purging, okay? Almost similar to like when the human body has detected certain viruses or bacterias that is not in alignment with its greatest health, right? Then it's going to start to attack it. That's what I'm picking up in terms of like on a mass scale, on a collective scale. There's going to be things that's going to run rapid, whether it's created in a lab or created by nature in order to naturally purge the mankind and in order to preserve the human. Okay? So I'm strongly picking up that there's getting ready to be this massive decrease. I'm also picking up that this is why it is so vital for those who are human beings to come into some form of enlightenment. Now, do I feel that all humans are chosen? No. No, I do not. But they play a vital role in the overall survival of humanity. Okay? But not all humans are chosen. So there will be, the awakening is necessary for every human being. Mankind, no. No, because they are empty, literally empty vessels. And so because they are empty vessels, regardless of what knowledge they receive, application will always lack. And they will always take knowledge and pervert it. Because there's no soul in them that will compel them to use that knowledge for the highest good of humanity. Because they're naturally in survival mode, knowing that nature doesn't even support them. So there's a natural anger, a venom, a bitterness that is within them that will naturally cause them to pervert any divine wisdom. But for a human being that is not necessarily chosen, that gets a hold of divine knowledge, they can apply these things and be very, very useful for the growth of humanity. Okay? Because a human being does possess a soul. Okay? So then that leaves the question, some people that are new to my channel might say, well, what is a chosen seed then? A chosen seed is someone who has a higher mission, a higher calling, who is usually the one that is like, the first up is the sacrificial lamb in the family, right? First up on the chopping blocks. Yeah, you want to sacrifice somebody, get that one right there. Because a lot of these pawns and gatekeepers around us don't even realize on the soul level that they're doing this because it's a spiritual warfare that's happening that wants to get rid of us, so that the overall mission to shift the frequency globally does not get accomplished. Okay, so they end up being used as pawns. Even if they are human with a soul, they still end up being used as pawns, because a lot of these humans with a soul will remain in survival mode for the rest of their life. And so there's a lot of things that they will be willing to do for the sake of survival. A chosen seed has a divine mission, and that divine mission sets them aside from everyone else. And there is a lot of pushback. There's a lot of judgment that comes with that. There's a lot of losses that they will have to take along the way. It's a very interesting dynamic that sets a chosen seed aside from the average human, and most certainly easily sets them aside from mankind. Like, it's a stark difference, a noticeable difference between a chosen seed and mankind. But with a human and a chosen seed, it's very similar energy, but the integrity on one end, the light that comes from the chosen seed, the divinity that comes from the chosen seed is far different from one who is human that lacks that connection. Okay, so with that being said, y'all, I know that it's going to become more and more evident to many of us that we are amongst beings that are not human. And we got to get prepared for the pushback that comes from these beings, because they know that they are a dying breed. Now consider, like I said, they're like walking raisins, right? They're like dust that's about to blow off in the wind. So they don't hold any power. They hold no power. Okay? Literally, the beings that initially created them, the only power that they held, do you know where they got their source of power from? They got their source of power from the sleep chosen. They put us under a spell. A literal curse was placed over the chosen seed so that we will forget our origin, forget who we are, forget our alchemy, forget our divinity. And they siphoned that energy. And as a result of siphoning that energy, it gave them access to the Akashic records. It gave them access to a lot of the spiritual gifts, a lot of our creativity. It gave them access to our light. And so they fed on this. Not only did they feed on this, but they distributed that energy, using it as a means to create this this false narrative that most of these beings that surrounds us are actually human as well. It was all an illusion. Okay? So you want to definitely it's funny because folks be trying to hear what I'm saying. They be trying so hard to ear hustle. It's crazy when I be sitting in my car. You could tell when folks are ear hustling. It's like they really just want to know what is she saying. That's how you know the gatekeeper spirit that's within them. Even if they don't even know that they're a gatekeeper, that gatekeeper spirit within them has a curiosity for what a chosen seed is saying. Because like I said, these beings that are not human, the ones that's mankind, the ones that are empty vessels, they identify us. They know who we are right away. And they hate it. Oh my goodness, the venom. They hate it. The humans that have a soul that's not chosen, they know who we are. There's less hatred that comes from them, but there is a lot of envy and jealousy on their part because many of them have placed themselves in a position to have to deal with a lot of karma. And so because they're going to see you get evolved, they're going to see the Most High elevate you, they're going to see the favor over your life, there's a natural envy and jealousy that will come from a human with a soul that is not chosen. But that same person they can strongly benefit, right, with acceptance of the fact that, okay, it's just all about becoming the best version. That's really all it is. It's all about just becoming the best version. With acceptance, they can actually live a very comfortable and thriving life. But you just got to consider what has been breeded, what has been created, the psychological warfare, the spiritual warfare, the mental, financial, all of these things play a role, and it has created even humans who act like NPCs, even humans who have zombie-like characteristics and who would just go along to get along. So we are surrounded, chosen. And this is another reason why, as a chosen seed, when it comes to you finding your soul tribe, when it comes to you finding romantic partnerships, it can be a very, very tough uphill battle. Because you have to first sort through the weed versus the tare. Who is who? You know what I'm saying? Who is who? Are you now? See, the thing is, if you fall in line and end up aligning with somebody who's an empty vessel, then that's on you, right? And most chosen seed ain't gonna go because you can see it in their body language, the way that they move. Like, it's just like, what the hell wrong with them? Naturally, you're gonna gravitate away from them. Now, other human beings with a soul, that's where it can get a little tricky. But you will find that many of them have taken on the ways of the soulless empty vessels. And so then it becomes difficult because too many human beings, y'all probably wouldn't even be able to see this red bird, this cardinal, if I showed it, but it's sitting right here on this tree just looking right at me. And in the other tree you can hear it's a crow. So it's a lot of synchronicities, but it will be difficult to be able to weed through who is who and what is what. It's no longer just who is who. It is now what is what. Okay? It's an interesting ride, but we came here for it, okay? we took on the assignment. We was given a mission, and we will fulfill our mission as chosen seed. But I'm trying to tell you, there's some things that you kind of wish you could unsee so that you can then just solely focus on your day-to-day chores or day-to-day activities. But now it's like being in the midst of, like, literally, like, just walking through the matrix and seeing the mask has fallen off. You can't unsee that thing right there. We ain't the same. We are not the same. Just like Kendrick Lamar said, they not like us. There was a whole lot more behind that song, especially with it being put out at the time that it was actually put into, put into rotation in the music industry. They not like us. It's far deeper than what meets the eye, but it will never be too deep in order for you to see it through your spiritual eyes. So keep your eyes open, chosen. Keep your eyes open. That's my message for you all. I'm not going to keep you too long, but let me know in the comments section if y'all have been experiencing this. I need to know. It can't just be me. Like, subscribe, hype up the message if you find that it resonates. I'll talk to y'all next time.